All life on planet Earth is based on carbon. Yes, that atom that you find in things like diamonds or the tip of your pencil. Thanks to carbon-based molecules, you and I exist. So yeah, you can say that these are the coolest molecules in the universe. There are 4 major classes of carbon-based molecules important to life: carbohydrates, lipids, proteins, and nucleic acids. Each of those types of carbon-based or organic molecules is a polymer. And a polymer is basically a huge molecule made up of many units called monomers. Let's look at these 4 main types of carbon-based molecules, starting with carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are made from carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen and include things like sugars and starch. The cool thing about carbohydrates is that they can be broken down by the body to provide an immediate source of usable energy. The most basic form of carbohydrates are the simple sugars or monosaccharides. Monosaccharides usually contain 5 or 6 carbon atoms linked together in rings. Monosaccharides include fructose, glucose, and galactose. Fructose, or fruit sugar, is found, in fruits. Fructose is what makes apples and watermelons and mangoes, and yes, honey, taste sweet. Glucose is made by plants through a process of photosynthesis, and is subsequently used as a source of energy to fuel the process of cellular respiration in animals. Galactose is found mainly in dairy products and is a chief component of the glycolipids that can be found in the brain and in myelin sheath of nerve cells. For that reason, it is also known as brain sugar. Complex carbohydrates or polysaccharides are usually made of many glucose molecules linked together. Polysaccharides include things like starches, glycogen, and cellulose. Starches are made and stored by plants like potatoes and are used as sources of energy by both animals and plants. Like starch, glycogen is a multi-branch polysaccharide that serves as a storage form of glucose. Glycogen is made in skeletal muscle tissue and the liver, and is stored mainly in the liver. Long-term storage of glycogen occurs in the body as fat. Cellulose is a long-chain polysaccharide consisting of several hundred to many thousands of glucose monomers. Cellulose is an important structural component of green plants. Now it is time to move on to the next category of carbon-based molecules, lipids. Lipids are nonpolar hydrocarbons. Nonpolar substances do not dissolve in water and include things like fats, oils, and cholesterol. Remember when you tried to mix olive oil with water? The oil molecules, which are nonpolar, will separate and float on top of the water, which is made up of polar molecules. Lipids function to store large amounts of chemical energy and may occur in both animals and plants. For example, animal fats can be found in meats and butter, while plant fats include olive oil, peanut oil, and cocoa butter. Structurally, lipids are composed of a 3-carbon molecule called glycerol, which is subsequently bound to 3 hydrocarbon chains called fatty acids. And because there are 3 fatty acid chains, we call these molecules triglycerides. Fats are classified according to the number of double bonds present, so fats can be either saturated or unsaturated. Saturated fats are formed when all of the free bonds of carbon are linked to hydrogen atoms. In other words, saturated fats contain the maximum number of hydrogen atoms possible. Most animal fats are saturated and are solids at room temperature. Saturated fats include well-known substances like butter and cheese. By contrast, unsaturated fats contain 1 or more double bonds. In other words, unsaturated fats do not contain the maximum number of hydrogen atoms possible. Double bonds create kinks or bends in the hydrocarbon chains, thus preventing them from forming solids. So most unsaturated fats are liquid at room temperature. Unsaturated fats are found in oily fish like salmon and in flaxseed and canola oils. Lipids are also important structural elements in cells. For example, cell membranes are made of millions of phospholipid molecules. A phospholipid consists of a glycerol molecule bound to a phosphate group and two fatty acid chains. The phosphate group is polar. Remember, polar means it likes water. And we call this end of the molecule the hydrophilic head. While the fatty acid chains are non-polar, so they don't interact with water. And we call this end of the molecule the hydrophobic tail. Cholesterol is one of the special group of lipids called sterols. Structurally, cholesterol consists of 4 hydrocarbon rings linked together. Your body needs a certain amount of cholesterol as it is an important structural component of cell membranes. Your body also uses cholesterol to make steroid hormones. Cholesterol-based hormones include cortisol, which is important in the stress response, and testosterone and estrogen, which are important in the development and functioning of the reproductive systems of males and females, respectively. The word cholesterol often triggers a negative reaction, but the reality is that there are good and bad types of cholesterol. The fact is, cholesterol occurs in 2 forms in the bloodstream: LDL and HDL. LDL, or low-density lipoprotein, is often referred to as bad cholesterol because it contributes to fatty buildups in arteries. These accumulations of fat in arteries are called plaques, and plaques slow the flow of blood, thereby increasing the risk of heart attack and stroke. HDL, or high-density lipoprotein, is often referred to as good cholesterol because it carries LDL cholesterol away from arteries and back to the liver, where it is broken down and subsequently eliminated. Thus, a healthy level of HDL may protect against heart attack and stroke. Now, enough about lipids. It is time to move on to the next category of carbon-based molecules, proteins. Proteins are by far the most diverse group of organic molecules in your body. From movement and metabolism to growth and reproduction, proteins do it all. Proteins are polymers made up of monomers called amino acids. There are 20 different amino acids with which the body builds various proteins. Essentially, 20 Lego pieces that the body uses to build different structures. Your body can produce some of those amino acids, but you must obtain 9 of them from foods that you eat. For example, meat, beans, and nuts. Because the body cannot manufacture those amino acids, and because you must obtain them from your diet, they are commonly referred to as essential amino acids. An amino acid is a hydrocarbon that also contains nitrogen and a side chain called the R group that is specific to each amino acid. So the basic structure of the monomer is the same for all amino acids. That is a carbon atom attached to an R group, an amino group, or NH2 group, and a carboxyl, or COOH group. The functional part, then, of the amino acid is derived from its R group. To make a protein chain, amino acids are linked together via peptide bonds. A peptide bond is formed when the amino group of one amino acid binds to the carboxyl group of another amino acid. And because these protein chains are formed via many peptide bonds, they are called polypeptides. Proteins differ in the number and order of amino acids, and it is this order of amino acids that determines a particular protein structure and subsequently its function. Which is to say, if even just one of the amino acids in a protein is incorrect or missing, then the protein's function may be altered or prevented altogether. For example, hemoglobin is a large protein containing 574 amino acids, and hemoglobin functions to carry oxygen in red blood cells. Changing just one of those amino acids subsequently changes the shape of the hemoglobin protein, thus preventing its normal function. The result can be a well-known disorder called sickle cell anemia. The final group of organic molecules important to all life on Earth is the nucleic acids. Nucleic acids include DNA and RNA. Detailed instructions for building proteins are stored in nucleic acids. Nucleic acids are very large polymer chains made up of monomers called nucleotides. A nucleotide is composed of a sugar molecule and attached phosphate group, or PO4, and a nitrogen-containing or nitrogenous base. Nucleic acids work together to accomplish their most important task, making proteins. So, just as an architect's blueprint carries the instructions for building a house, DNA carries the instructions for building proteins. And just as a contractor reads the blueprint and builds the house accordingly, so does RNA reads the DNA instructions and builds proteins accordingly. Your blueprint instructions are encoded in your DNA molecules as genes. DNA molecules are tightly packed in the cell's nucleus as chromosomes, and therein lays the important purpose for nucleic acids, heredity. On that note, we reached the end of the video. Let me know if you would like me to cover other topics in the comments below. Subscribe to my channel and turn on the notifications so you don't miss the next upload. Till then, I will see you in the next video.